I thought it would be the most awkward joke of my life. I never imagined it would become the moment that changed everything I believed about love, forgiveness, and the painful secrets people hide behind their smiles. When I looked into her eyes after those careless words left my mouth, she didn't laugh. She didn't get angry. She simply reached for my hand, held it tightly, and silently led me toward her bedroom while my heart pounded harder with every step. I was convinced I had made the biggest mistake of my life. But what waited behind that door wasn't romance, it was a truth that would shatter everything I thought I knew. Before we begin this unforgettable story, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance and that true love can appear in the most unexpected places, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone special, and subscribe to Midnight Love Stories. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories to life every single day. My name was Adrian Mercer, and for almost 3 years I believed my future had been written beside a woman named Vanessa. We had built dreams together, searched for apartments together, and even talked about the names of children we hoped to have someday. Then one ordinary Thursday afternoon everything collapsed. Vanessa confessed she had fallen in love with someone from her office. She packed a suitcase before sunset and walked away from the life we had spent years creating. She cried while leaving, but tears didn't change the silence she left behind. I spent months trying to understand what I had done wrong until I realized heartbreak rarely arrives with explanations. The only person who occasionally checked on me afterward was Vanessa's younger sister, Rowan Ellis. She had always been the quiet one during family gatherings. While everyone laughed loudly around dinner tables, Rowan preferred sitting near the kitchen window with a cup of coffee, watching birds gather outside. She was thoughtful without trying to impress anyone. During my relationship with Vanessa, we hardly exchanged more than polite greetings because we respected family boundaries. After the breakup, however, she surprised me with simple messages asking if I had eaten or reminding me to take care of myself. At first I ignored those texts because I believed staying connected to anyone from Vanessa's family would only make moving on more difficult. But Rowan never pressured me. Sometimes weeks passed without hearing from her, and then another short message would appear wishing me a peaceful weekend or hoping work wasn't overwhelming. Her kindness expected nothing in return, and slowly those messages became tiny lights during some very lonely nights. Nearly 2 years passed before fate unexpectedly placed us in the same place again. A mutual friend organized a daytime charity fundraiser at a community garden on the edge of town. Volunteers planted flowers, repaired playground equipment, and served food to struggling families. I almost stayed home that morning, but something inside me insisted fresh air might finally quiet the memories that still lingered. I spotted Rowan arranging donated books beneath a large white tent. Sunlight filtered through nearby maple trees, creating moving shadows across her face. She smiled when she noticed me, not with excitement but with genuine warmth, as though seeing an old friend who had survived difficult years. We spent most of the afternoon working together. We laughed over spilled soil, helped children paint flower pots, and carried heavy boxes without realizing hours had disappeared. There was no awkwardness about Vanessa. Neither of us mentioned her. Instead, we spoke about favorite novels, forgotten dreams, travel destinations, and how strange adulthood had become compared to what we imagined as teenagers. As the event ended, rain clouds gathered unexpectedly. Rowan suggested everyone continue talking at her apartment nearby while waiting for the storm to pass. Several volunteers agreed, but one by one they received calls or changed plans until only the two of us remained. Her apartment felt peaceful rather than luxurious. Large windows filled every room with daylight despite the approaching storm. Shelves overflowed with books, family photographs, and small plants she carefully cared for. Everything reflected patience instead of perfection. While drinking coffee in her kitchen, we began teasing each other about embarrassing childhood stories she'd heard from Vanessa years earlier. For the first time in what felt like forever, laughter came naturally instead of feeling forced. Then my mouth betrayed me. Looking around her cozy apartment, I jokingly sighed and said that maybe I should have asked the right sister to marry me all those years ago. The smile disappeared from Rowan's face. She looked at me for several long seconds without speaking. My stomach tightened instantly. I opened my mouth to apologize, already regretting the foolish comment. Instead, she quietly stood up. She reached across the table. She gently took my hand. Without saying a single word, she walked toward the hallway leading to her bedroom. Every terrible possibility rushed through my mind. Had I crossed an unforgivable line? Was she about to tell me never to contact her again? Had my careless joke reopened wounds connected to her sister? She stopped inside the bedroom. Instead of sitting on the bed, she walked toward an old wooden chest beneath the window. Kneeling beside it, she unlocked it with a tiny silver key hanging from a necklace she always wore. Inside were dozens of notebooks tied together with faded blue ribbons. She lifted the oldest notebook carefully and placed it into my trembling hands. Only then did she whisper that I should read the first page before saying another word. The notebook wasn't a diary. It was filled with handwritten letters. None of them had ever been mailed. Every single one was addressed to me. The first letter carried a date from almost 6 years earlier, long before my relationship with Vanessa had ended. My hands shook as I began reading. Rowan had written about the first day we met during a family barbecue. She admitted she noticed the way I helped her elderly grandfather carry folding chairs while everyone else remained busy talking. She wrote that kindness was becoming rare, and seeing someone treat an older stranger with quiet respect had stayed in her mind for weeks afterward. Another letter described watching me encourage Vanessa during difficult times even when nobody appreciated my sacrifices. Rowan confessed she admired my patience but believed her sister often overlooked everything I quietly did to keep the relationship alive. Page after page revealed emotions she had buried for years. She had loved me silently from the beginning. Not because she wanted to steal someone else's happiness. Not because she envied her sister. She simply believed some feelings were never meant to be spoken if speaking them would hurt innocent people. So she kept writing letters instead. Letters no one would ever read. Until today. I felt tears blur the ink before finishing half the notebook. Rowan stood quietly near the window, staring outside where rain finally began falling across the city. She explained that after Vanessa left me, she wanted countless times to tell me the truth. But she knew grief wasn't the right foundation for love. If she entered my life while I still mourned another woman, she would always wonder whether I truly loved her or merely needed someone to fill an empty place inside my heart. So she waited. Not weeks. Not months. Years. She watched me slowly rebuild my career. She celebrated my promotions from afar. She silently worried whenever mutual friends mentioned I looked exhausted. She continued sending simple messages because caring didn't always require dramatic gestures. Listening to her, I realized genuine love sometimes speaks most loudly through patience rather than passion. I asked why she had never thrown away the letters. She smiled sadly. Because hope can survive even when expectations disappear. Those words echoed inside me for a long time. I wasn't suddenly in love because of hidden letters. Real life doesn't work that way. My heart still carried scars, doubts, and unanswered questions. But for the first time since losing Vanessa, I felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Not excitement. Not infatuation. Peace. Over the following months our friendship deepened naturally. We visited museums during sunny afternoons, volunteered together every other weekend, and discovered dozens of little cafes scattered across the city. There were no rushed confessions or dramatic declarations. We learned each other's fears, habits, strengths, and weaknesses before allowing romance to enter the picture. Then life tested us again. Vanessa unexpectedly returned. She had recently divorced the man she once believed was her soulmate. She admitted leaving me remained the greatest mistake of her life and begged for another chance. The situation broke everyone's heart. Her parents struggled between protecting one daughter and supporting the other. Friends avoided taking sides. Rowan quietly prepared to disappear from my life because she refused to become the reason sisters hated each other forever. Watching her pack away every hopeful dream she'd hidden inside those notebooks hurt more than I expected. That was the moment I finally understood where my heart truly belonged. Love wasn't found in grand promises made years earlier. It lived inside everyday kindness. Inside patience. Inside loyalty. Inside someone who stayed when leaving would have been easier. I visited Vanessa one final time. There was no anger left inside either of us. Only gratitude for the beautiful memories we once shared and acceptance that some chapters are meant to end so better ones can begin. She cried. I cried. But closure sometimes arrives through tears instead of happiness. Later that afternoon I drove straight to Rowan's apartment carrying the same old notebook she had first placed into my hands. She opened the door expecting another goodbye. Instead, I returned every letter to her. Between the final pages I had placed one new envelope. It contained only a single handwritten sentence. This time, I'm not joking anymore. Rowan's hands trembled before she looked up with tears shining in her eyes. She didn't answer immediately. She simply smiled the same gentle smile that had first comforted me years ago. And this time, I was the one who reached for her hand. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to Midnight Love Stories, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your support inspires us to keep creating emotional stories that remind us love is often found in the quietest moments. Speech balloon special request: before this story ends, comment below, "True love always waits." We'd love to know how many of you still believe in patient, selfless love. Sometimes the greatest love stories don't begin with perfect timing. They begin with years of silent kindness, unexpected courage, and one simple moment that changes everything forever. And in the end, Adrian realized that the woman who had quietly stood beside his broken heart all along wasn't waiting to replace someone else, she was waiting for the day he could finally see the love that had never stopped choosing him.